breaking news just moments ago. 4 people who were allegedly planning a bomb attack on businesses across Southern California for New Year's Eve have been arrested. Los Angeles law enforcement officials made that announcement in just the last hour. The press conference came shortly after this post from Attorney General Pam Bondi, who says the Department of Justice and the FBI prevented what would have been a massive and horrific terror plot in California. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, a far-left, pro-Palestine, anti-government and anti-capitalist group, was preparing to conduct a series of bombings against multiple targets in California beginning on New Year's Eve. The group also planned to target ICE agents and vehicles. Listen to law enforcement here explain some of the details of that plot.
In November 2025, Defendant Carroll created a detailed bombing plot to use explosive devices to attack 5 or more locations across Southern California on this upcoming New Year's Eve. Carroll and her co-defendant, Zachary Page, led the effort to obtain and build the bombs and to recruit others to join in their plot. Carroll's bomb plot was explicit. It included a step-by-step instructions to build IEDs or improvised explosive devices and listed multiple targets across Orange County and Los Angeles. Carroll also made clear her desires. She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act." Carroll and Page also discussed plans for follow-up attacks after their bombings, which included plans to target ICE agents and vehicles with pipe bombs. Carroll stated that those plans would, quote, "take some of them out and scare the rest."
All right, let's bring in CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen. Jake, what else did we learn during this press conference?
Well, Mugo, we knew that the Department of Justice and FBI used a surveillance plane to find these suspects in the desert near 29 Palms in California, where these suspects were apparently going to test these explosive devices. As you heard from First Assistant U.S. Attorney there, Bill Asaley, who leads the federal prosecutor's office, this was a plan in which 4 people were arrested in this weekend. An additional person the FBI said was arrested by the FBI in New Orleans, who is also a member of this group, the Turtle Island Liberation Group, or Front, I should say. At the same time, we also know that Asaley said that these suspects were also the member of another group who were planning some more severe attacks. It's unclear exactly which attack was planned by one group or not, but it appears that Audrey Carroll, you see on the left side of that photo right there, was the mastermind of both of these attacks, allegedly. They had a detailed and coordinated plot that at midnight, Mugo, these backpack bombs, which apparently the FBI says these people had created the technology or found the technology to potentially hide the way that these bombs were planted and to hide evidence that they had planted them, were going to explode simultaneously at these different logistics centers throughout the Southern California area. The FBI did not say specifically which companies were going to be affected. They said they would not name them or where specifically these logistics centers were located, but they did say they are in Southern California near the LA area. You can see that footage which was played at this press conference of these suspects gathering in the middle of the California desert to potentially plot out these devices, and they said that they were actively taking steps to either build more and also recruit more members to participate in potentially more bombings in just a couple of weeks.
Wow. And Jake, I'm sure people are wondering about this because what can you tell us about this group? They're called the Turtle Island Liberation Front.
That's right. If you look at just social media postings, it appears that they're obviously opposed to the Trump administration, specifically their immigration agenda. Here's how Bill Asaley put it, again, the person who's in charge of the federal prosecutor's office in California. He said they're a far-left, pro-Palestine, anti-government, anti-capitalist group. They are not specifically tied to Antifa, but the Department of Justice in this press conference said that because of an executive order that President Trump signed earlier in his administration directing federal law enforcement to go after Antifa-like groups, this gave his office more of a directive in Southern California to go after groups like this. And it appears that this was a long-standing investigation that took a lot of surveillance work. Again, we will see what charging documents hold. We have not had access to them yet. They were going to unseal them at some time after this press conference, but we do know that there was enough of a step to make these arrests across across the country, 4 in Southern California, and 1 in New Orleans for potential simultaneous attacks on these logistics centers. It's unclear, again, what companies were targeted, but what we do know is that enough steps were taken that this group was spotted with a surveillance plane planning out these attacks and potentially blowing up some of these bombs to demonstrate their explosivity in the desert ahead of a potential New Year's Eve attack.
Wow. Jake Rosen, thank you so much for your reporting.